Hello everyone, thanks for watching today's video. I will be showing you how to play the Prelude from Suite 1 by Bach for unaccompanied cello. And of course I cannot go through every single note and show you exactly how to play it, but what I can do, I will give you certain examples from specific measures and we'll talk about phrasing, ornamentation, how to practice it, and what you should be thinking about as you play the entire piece through. So first of all, what makes this piece difficult? There are many things, but there are three that stick out in particular to me. The first one, I would say, is difficulty with string crossings. They are very difficult to keep even and to keep smooth, and I see a lot of people try to play like this, where their arm is moving up and down at a very drastic angle. You really don't need to do that at all. It's a very slight motion, so you want to try to get this down to this in terms of vertical motion whenever you're crossing strings. I would say that the second problem, or perhaps the first, this one is also a very, very difficult aspect to playing this piece, is to keep a steady rhythm. And that's why metronome work is so incredibly important. The third difficulty is to play it musically. Bach is gorgeous on its own, no matter how you play it, but it can get really, really boring if you don't have some sort of something to say whenever you're playing it. Especially because this piece is played so often, everyone knows what it's supposed to sound like, everyone kind of has a certain expectation, and not saying that you should compare yourself to anyone else, but you should definitely make it your own. So let's talk about each one of these things specifically. For the string crossings, I would definitely recommend doing an exercise beforehand to warm up. And just a simple string crossing exercise is just to start on the D string and go to the A string and go back and forth. Also, please ignore the rosin. I've been already playing a lot today. And then once you feel comfortable with doing 2 notes per bow, you can go ahead and up it to 4. And then once you feel comfortable with G and A, then you can go ahead and do it on D and G and C and G. What you can also do is practice the actual music, but just leave out the left hand. So normally it would be like this, but instead you're going to practice it like this. And C instead of like this, to see how small you can get this motion. So the second problem now, to keep steady rhythm, a lot of this has to do with bow distribution and with practicing with the metronome, as I said before. So whatever you want to set your metronome on, I would recommend doing it slower, much, much slower than what you will eventually be performing it at. And be diligent with that, and it should make a big difference. But talking about the bow distribution, you mostly, for the most part, you want to have every note be fairly equal. So you want to have the same amount of bow for each note. And as you can hear, the first note in every measure, you kind of want to let it ring. So that does require a little bit more bow, but it sounds like you're using more bow than what you actually are. You just add a little bit more pressure, so you can maybe use that much bow for the first note, but just add a little bit more pressure so it sounds larger and more full than the other notes. So yeah, but just try to keep it at an even bow distribution, and that should really help with keeping a steady rhythm. The third difficult aspect to this piece is such a broad subject, and that is to play musically. So I can't give you all of the information that I wish that I could in one video, but let me just give you a few things to think about. First of all, because this was written in the Baroque era, you will not be playing this with a lot of vibrato. If you do, that's a very modern interpretation, and I guess that's fine, but personally I think you should stick with playing it historically accurately, I suppose you could say. So only add vibrato for specific notes. Whenever you want to highlight a really important note, it's a very delicate ornamentation, and we call that ornamentation. In terms of phrasing, my best advice would be to listen to someone play this piece. I'm sure there are a lot of not so good recordings on YouTube. Find one that's trustworthy. So listen to Yo-Yo Ma or, one of the greats. But listen to what they do. Listen to their phrasing. Pick out the notes that they hold a little bit longer than other notes. Write in dynamics into your music. Listen to what they do. Write in dynamics, crescendos, decrescendos, where you should take time. And listening is going to be the thing that helps you most. Now, if you want to base your phrasing off of just looking at the page and seeing visually what you have to work with, whenever you see notes go up, kind of assume that you're going to go up with them. And when you see them go down, you're going to go down with them. These are hard terms to explain, but I can just show you an example. So on and so on. It's just a very, it's like a wave. You have to follow the lines and follow the lines of the notes, if that makes sense. I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that all notes lead somewhere. They are not all just equal like this. They lead to other notes, or they come away from other notes. And so you have to think of it in terms of that. Never, ever, ever play a boring note. Every single note has meaning, and every single note has value, whether it's going or coming. One of the most basic things to remember about playing this piece is to let the bass note ring, and the bass note is the first note in each of these measures. Don't treat the beginning of every single measure the same. They should be played differently, but for the most part, you want to give them a little bit more weight, a little bit more time, and the chance to really ring while the other notes play on top of them. Bach was an organist, and so whenever he wrote this piece, he probably wrote it with the intention of having that drone on the bottom playing the root note of the chord while you expound on top. And so on. And so as I'm playing, you're hearing that long bottom note being held out and ringing and really just filling out the sound. It's beautiful. So before I end this, let me give you some certain spots to think about. For example, measure 9 into measure 10. So right there, if you notice, you're going to kind of fall into the downbeat of measure 10, and you're going to kind of sink into it. And kind of the same thing from measure 10 into measure 11. You just kind of fall into the next measure. Measure 19 into measure 20, kind of a similar thing. Like, that's such a beautiful downbeat in measure 20. It's just gorgeous, and so you want to really dig into it, make it ring, make it full. Another place would be measure 22. Let that high note, that high D ring. And then from there, but that note is so pure. And so I wouldn't add vibrato. I think it's just really pretty to just leave it pure and smooth, and especially in a like a church setting with the reverberation, the ambience. It's so good. It rings. It's so beautiful. Okay, what else? Downbeat of measure 24. That's definitely a place where you want to sit on that downbeat. Let's see. Here too. And here. So as you can see, there are just a lot of special notes that you want to highlight, and the best way, again, is just to listen to someone else do it and then write it in your music, circle them, do something. Let's see, what else is there? Downbeat on measure 55 is also very important. There are a couple places that I like to call waterfalls. So that's kind of like a it's kind of a waterfall moment. The ending is quite a trick, and so I may go ahead and do a separate tutorial for the ending. I know that a couple people have requested it. One last thing before this video ends, there are different ways that you can do the bowing in this piece. You can do, divide the measure up into 2 bows, or you can do it like this, which I hate. There are many, many different interpretations of how to do the bowing in this piece. I guess it just depends on what you want to say with it, so yeah. Well, that is all I have for today on this. I am planning on doing a separate video for the end just to really actually go through every measure slowly and show you exactly what to do for bowings and fingerings and all that. But I hope that this video helped. Let me know if you have further questions. I wish that I could have been a little bit more specific, but it's such an intricate, dense piece that I tried to do my best. I tried. Yeah, well, if you have any more questions or comments, leave those in the comment section below. If this video helped you, be sure to like it and share it and all of that good stuff. And then subscribe to me for weekly music videos and weekly tutorials. As always, love what you do, practice well, and share it with others, and I hope that this video helps.